Natural remedies for flu. First of all, let's understand what is the difference between a flu and a cold. Doctor?
Well, they're basically the same thing. It's just that flu is named as that because it's short for the influenza virus. And so technically, an illness is not the flu unless it's caused by influenza. But the symptoms are still the same mostly no matter what virus it is.
So just thinking about my own track of when I've gotten ill and whatnot, when I feel like for myself, when I get the flu, that's when I'm going to deal with things like, I don't know, vomiting and diarrhea and things like that. But when I have a cold, it seems to be more a nasal or here. Am I incorrect?
It's just the way it's termed. It is very common to say stomach flu, but the same kind of viruses that can cause your colds can also cause GI symptoms too. It's just nobody ever goes in to get tested, right, when they get sick.
Interesting. Okay. Now, let's talk about natural remedies for flu. Irene, what would you suggest?
Well, it depends.
You suggest depends?
Yeah, well, you might need to if it's a stomach flu, but there's other remedies. So what do I have in my house? Okay, you got hydrotherapy. Do you have essential oils? Do you have herbs in your cupboard? What do you have in your house? Do you have onions? So, yes, we're going to share several ideas, but again, there's not just one way of dealing with it. Me, I take 5 capsules for many years. I just start feeling eyes itch like I'm starting to catch something. I take 5 capsules of garlic. An hour or two later, I take 5 more. Done. I don't deal with nothing. If I delay, just like if I delay and push out not taking it, then I probably have to deal with some symptoms. So it really depends. Water is huge no matter what. Hydrotherapy, it's available. Use it. Do the 3 hot and cold. Go wrap up in bed. Cover your head up. So you have your mouth and nose out so you can breathe fresh air. But cover up and sweat that thing out.
So you mentioned something right at the beginning. It depends on what you have in your home. Kind of reminds me of the old adage of a ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Yes. Very much so.
So there's one question I have here. Now, we all are naturopathic vegan. You are too, right? Yeah, okay. I know my wife and I are. But I know when I get the stomach flu especially, that's the time when I will ask my wife, I don't drink pop except for at that point, and it's Sprite. I don't know why it works, but it works. I was wondering, does anybody here have an answer as to why that helps my stomach level out during that point?
So we actually did a little bit on that, on an earlier segment. So, since then, I actually looked online, just to see, what other websites, said about that. And though it's not necessarily the most recommended, treatment, I know that in the past it has worked for some. And the reason why is because some of that soda that is in there will actually lower the pH. So it's the same as your stomach acid. And so it kind of helps to push it through and settle your stomach a little bit better. And it also does have a little bit of sugar in it, and a little bit of fluid. But, once you can settle your stomach out, then that's when you want to really hydrate yourself.
So in the process of doing that research, did you happen to find a negative aspect to taking that trail?
It was just that sometimes, when you're vomiting, your body is devoid of the nutrients that it needs, such as, the natural sugars, that you would get in your foods. And it doesn't have as much of those types of sugars. It has a lot of the bad sugar, but it doesn't have a lot of the other kind of sugar that you would need to get healed.
Okay, perfect. So is there anything else here on natural remedies for flu that anyone would like to bring up?
Go ahead.
So I have a lot of things to say about natural remedies for flu. And so, I mean, how long is this video going to take?
Yeah, right.
And so, but when you are sick, go to your produce section, go to your garden if you have one. That's the best place. But if you don't, then go to your produce section in your store, your grocery store, and pick out all the most colorful things that you can see. A lot of times the colorful things have a lot of the vitamins and minerals that you need. Another thing you do is to go outside. Vitamin D is becoming such a hot topic in medicine, and and they're finding out that vitamin D is such an anti-inflammatory that it will help, pretty much, if you're sick, take a megadose at that time, and then it'll actually help the healing go faster. Don't do that all the time, because vitamin D is toxic if you take it at megadoses all the time.
So about the vitamin D, as a massage therapist, I take an intake form for my clients and whatnot. And part of that intake form includes what kind of prescription drugs are you on? I'm always intrigued when they say, I've been prescribed vitamin D.
Yes, and the allopathic, that's the traditional medicine. They are starting to see that it's actually something that is kind of like a wonder drug, and there's hardly any side effects to it unless you take too much on a regular basis. But it helps fight cancer. It helps you when you're sick. It's an all-around anti-inflammatory, immune boosting kind of medication.
Okay, Irene.
So, which is awesome, the vitamin D, because I've used it so many times. Just lay out in the sun if something isn't right and let the sun beat on it, and it goes shoo, and it's gone. But on to the flu. Here's a recipe, and you can use this recipe two ways. You can use it as a smoothie, or you can.
Wait, what's a smoothie?
Well, a smoothie is a blending up of fruits, usually. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they throw in some veggies. But most of the time it's a blend of fruits. And so you have grapefruit, oranges, lemons, onion, garlic, and ginger. Now in the smoothie, you put some honey in it with it. And you blend it up. And if you don't have one, don't worry about it. Make it anyway. So it's not, well, you have to have 4 lemons exactly. No. What do you have in your cupboard? Now for the tea, you just cut them up. You don't even peel them. You don't just cut them up and put them in a pot and cover it with water. And the cleaner and the more pure water, the better. And steep it. And then you take a tablespoon or 2 every hour or so. And what works for you again? What's your body doing? And so you've got 2 recipes that you can test out, whether you want to use a tea or whether you want to use a smoothie.
There we go.
I have one more. Something that we can all do is that, like you had mentioned earlier, prevention is worth more than an ounce of cure, right? Never mind. And so
a pound of prevention is worth an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. There we go.
Yes, so now we got it. But one thing that everybody can do is that when somebody starts to get sick, open up that window. So even if it's in the middle of winter, just open it up for about an hour, put on your jacket, if it's cold, but open it up for an hour so that you can, turn on the fan. As long as you circulate all that bad stuff out and you get more of the fresh, clean air again, you will not get so sick. And the other thing is that when you are starting to get, anytime actually, sugar, table sugar is something that is really bad for our immune system. It actually it goes to our white cells of our body, and it almost puts a blindfold on them and handcuffs them so that they can't move. And so when you start eating a lot of sugar in the refined type, then that will actually cause you to get sick if you are near people who are sick.
All right, so natural remedies for flu. We've had a lot of good advice in this one. Are there any final thoughts from either side?
Just one, sorry, one more. So if you have a lot of nasal congestion and you've already been drinking a lot of water to try to thin out those secretions, but it's still always there, something like cayenne pepper will actually also help. If you like, spicy foods, cayenne pepper is the only spice that I would recommend that you take. It's the only of the peppers that is anti-inflammatory as well. It will heal your ulcers, actually. If you have stomach ulcers, stay away from all the other peppers except for cayenne. And you can take as much as you can handle, and that will also decrease the inflammation in your sinuses areas.
I didn't know about that on cayenne pepper. All right, thank you for that. Anything else? All right, so we're going to draw this one to a close. Obviously, we have more information we could bring forward, but I think we've given some good nuggets in this about natural remedies for flu. The next one we're going to talk about is natural remedies for constipation. Wait, didn't we just talk about that? This time it's going to be during pregnancy. But as it relates to this video, on our information for natural remedies for flu, we hope you enjoy.